Good morning, everyone. Good morning. This is Luciana Turner of the LT&A Company coming before you this morning with my good morning tidbit. I'm in day 3 of my 100 days live, and so far it's been an amazing journey. So when you come into the room, please say something in the comments so that I can greet you. If you're catching this on the replay, hashtag replay so I can acknowledge that you stopped by. So this morning, I was going to do something else, but I decided to share on the topic of lowest price technically acceptable. That is a government contracting term that simply means that your bid is going to be evaluated on the technical aspect, which is your written response, and then it's going to be evaluated on price. And where a lot of people get it twisted is they believe that lowest price technically acceptable means as long as I submit a low bid, I'll win. But then they get a little bit upset because the person who has a higher bid than them actually wins the award. And that's because of one basic misunderstanding of this pricing or this award model. This is not, the government doesn't do bottom basement shopping. Even with GSA, they don't do bottom basement shopping. So you can't go in there and act, with the bizarre mentality of I'm gonna constantly bid down and win. The government is fully aware there's a website where they've done some pricing analysis. So they're looking for bids within 10 to 15% of the range for that service. So if you're not within that range, you're automatically dismissed. But before we even get to the pricing part, let's talk about technically acceptable. Technically acceptable is an analysis of the actual response to the RFP. That's within the RFP, they've asked you a series of questions or they've asked you to describe a series of things. And they ask the panel review, which is usually the program manager, somebody from contracts, somebody from finance, and at least two um, technical specialists in whatever area that is, which is why they ask for 5 copies usually of the RFP. If they're asking for more copies than 5, then that's a larger review team. That's another story. But they're actually looking for one, do you really know what you're talking about? Which goes back to day one of what do you do? They're not looking for a whole bunch of huff and fluff. They're not looking for a whole bunch of industry jargon. You're talking to professionals here with some years of experience. So they know when somebody's gaslighting them, they know when somebody's going to smoke up their woo ha. So the way I view it with the technical part is you must be specifically vague. You must be specific enough so they know what you're talking about, but vague enough that if you have to do some ebbing and weaving and some bobbing, that you can do that while you're performing on a contract. And that takes a little bit of skill and a little bit of practice to get to that specifically vagueness. But if you cannot respond to the technical part, as nobody's looking at your price, they don't care what your price is if you have fully demonstrated that you cannot perform or do not have a full understanding of the scope of work based upon the response in your technical part. And since I'm going over the 5 minutes and I really wanted to keep this to 5 minutes, I'll pick up part two tomorrow where I'll specifically dive into pricing. Because a lot of people win on the technical side, but that pricing is what blows you out the water. And once again, stop pricing for the government like it's a swap meet. Stop pricing for the government like this is let's make a deal. And you know what? Stop pricing, period. I don't care if you're government or not. Stop pricing like that. You cannot sustain a business with the model of whatever you can pay, just give it to me and I'm gonna do the work. Stop that. Hmm. So Luciana Turner of the LT&A company bring you this good morning tidbit. As I said, if you come, just drop in so I can acknowledge your presence. Um, Check me out on my webpage, ltnagroup.com. You can find links there to get to some of my past contracting chatter episodes. I am going to bring back chatter after I do the 100 days, and I might throw in a couple of chatter episodes during the 100 days. I have to see how that goes. You'll also find links to my both of my YouTube channels, Contractors Conversation, which this is streaming live to, contains some good content relating to contracting and general business, period. And then Chatter has its own YouTube page as well, where all of my previous interviews, conversations, behind the scenes giggles with my government contracting compadres are also listed there. So like and follow on my YouTube. If you can't don't catch me live in the mornings, that's okay. This is streaming and saved on to my YouTube page as well. And if you just want to have a conversation to see how we can work together, that's also in the description. You can book a appointment on my calendar. Ooh, that was hard to say. You can book appointment on my calendar. So I'll check me out tomorrow morning around the 7:30ish hour time frame, and have a great day.